Legion aired its latest episode, Chapter 5, last night, which we saw Sydney Barrett and the other mutants of Summerland trying to track down David Haller after he went on a solo rampage through Division 3 base where they were holding his sister, Katie. During that search, David, Sid, Melanie Bird, and the other members of Summerland team began to see firsthand the monster that is lurking inside of David. A monster that has taken over his psyche, perhaps completely. Up until now, Legion has referred to David's monster persona as the devil with the yellow eyes. However, Chapter 5 has added another piece of evidence to the theory that David is in fact under the sway of a classic X-Men villain. We are talking about none other than the Shadow King. In the X-Men comics, the Shadow King is Amal Farouk, a mutant whose psychic powers took a dark turn when he began controlling the mind of others, using their darker natures as his fuel. That abuse of power eventually brought Farouk into contact with an astral plane entity known as the Shadow King, a being of pure psychic energy that targeted telepaths and other psychic mutants, using their gifts to control and feed on the mind of others. Farouk tried to recruit a younger Charles Xavier to follow in his footsteps. However, Xavier's nobler view of mutant powers put him at odds with the Crime Lord / Psychic Predator, and the two had an epic battle across the astral plane. That battle resulted in Farouk / Shadow King being thought dead, but when he really was stranded bodiless in the astral plane. From there, the Shadow King has made repeated attempts to strike at Xavier and the X-Men family, which is exactly what Legion may be drawing on. Legion's central mystery has been who is the devil with the yellow eyes, aka the horrific, destructive entity that lives in David's mind. Showrunner Noah Hawley made it clear on that this standalone series was going to steer clear of this snarling itself in the convoluted X-Men lore, but that doesn't mean he hasn't drawn on some Marvel comic mythos. The clues are mounting on Legion. The entity creeps around the shadows of David's mind, eclipsing various memories with false implants, and more recently has been seen controlling its host body. One of the entity's earliest disguises was King, David's imaginary pet dog. With the recent reveal that David is adopted, there is new room for the reveal that Professor X is his father. That would be all the motivation Shadow King would need to torment David. The devil with the yellow eyes' physical appearance fits with the Marvel Comics depiction of Amal Farouk. The description of the entity that Carrie gives.
This monster isn't David, it's a parasite of some kind. You see another consciousness inside of him.
What does that mean?
This thing burrowed into David's brain when he was a boy, maybe even a baby, and it has been there, feeding on him ever since.
Really suggests an antagonist like Shadow King. Dead Division 3 agent Brubaker's specific wordings about what he saw in possessed David further points to a specific character like Shadow King. There's a lot of mounting evidence, but it must be remembered. While X-Men comic book fans may have once had their own ideas for what Legion should be, it's clear that Fargo creator Noah Hawley has something vastly different envisioned for that show. So far, fans have responded well to that vision, with Legion earning a solid following and high critical acclaim. In that sense, Hawley has been able to bend X-Men canon to fit his vision, and this devil with the yellow eyes could be just another element of those changes. In other words, while Legion may borrow the concept of the Shadow King for its own story, character, or thematic purposes, that doesn't mean the actual character is being introduced to the show. But even if Legion never names the Shadow King or references the traditional black story, it doesn't stop the character from serving as a powerful metaphor in the context of Legion's exploration of identity, self-control, and mental health. The Shadow King has always been represented as the worst of our minds given form. In the case of Legion, when the mind in question has the power of an atom bomb, what makes it tick is all the more important. So this was Marshmallow from Empty Brains, and hope you all enjoyed.